Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. Behind me is my dad's F90 M5. This thing is an absolute powerhouse, especially with that boot mode tune on there. It has almost 700 horsepower. Now, when you're stopping that much horsepower, you have to have good brakes. And BMW does make a decent brake pad, but the side effects are horrendous. If you have an M car, especially the M5, you probably have two main complaints, which he has as well. First, because they're a metallic-based pad, the sound is horrible and it always sounds like you need new brake pads, even when you have plenty of pad left. Second, they produce an incredible amount of brake dust, which we don't want to ruin his brand new dine-in fully forged wheels. So today, we're going to be switching to EBC red stuff. These things have plenty of bite, they're ceramic based, so they're going to be quiet, and it's going to have a massive reduction of brake dust. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through how to install the front and rear pads, along with new brake wear sensors. Now, if you're doing this project from home, one very important thing you need to do is you need to electronically disengage your rear parking brake. To do that, we like to use PROTOOL. We're gonna have links to all of this and also the brake pads, wear sensors, everything for you down in the description below. In addition to a PROTOOL license, which runs on an Android tablet, you can get something like this for about $100 from Walmart or Amazon. You will also need a Kies Wi-Fi adapter. This is what enables your car to communicate with your tablet. So let's get this plugged in. Triple click your start stop button. That's going to put you into diagnostic mode. Then once you've done that, connect to the Kies Wi-Fi adapter. As you can see here, the network name is Kies, capital K-I-E-S, and the password is capital K, lowercase I-E-S, 1234. Once you've connected to the Wi-Fi adapter, what you can do is go into PROTOOL, and you're going to hit connect. And this is going to go through a little bit of a startup process here. Then you're going to scroll down to stability control. It says DSC over here. And then down to control. And then right here, you want to activate installation mode. When I press this button, you're going to hear the parking brake disengage. Ready? So it takes about 5 or 10 seconds or so, but now we are completely disengaged. When you're done the process, you go back in here, you unselect that, and then you select the top one that says deactivate installation mode. So at this time, you can turn the car back off and we're ready to work. Let's start with the rear. Now, because we know most of you guys are going to be doing this on jack and jack stands in your garage, we're going to do the same and we're going to forego the lift. So the first thing we need to do is take your jack, put it under the jack point, lift the vehicle. Then once we have the vehicle lifted, we're going to slide under a jack stand for extra safety. Now with a 17mm with a protective socket, you can remove the top bolt. And I like to use our Kies wheel hanger. These are made of stainless steel, and as you can see, they are perfectly smooth. So as you glide your wheel off, you're not gonna damage your wheel, unlike some of the other ones with knurling. So just simply hand thread this in. Then at this time, you can remove the rest of the lug bolts and remove the wheel. So now that the wheel's off, I'm just gonna hit it with some brake cleaner to make sure we start off with everything as clean as possible. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to disconnect the brake wear sensor. You're going to have a brake wear sensor on the passenger rear and the driver front. Those are the wheels we're going to be doing a demo on today. Otherwise, the process is exactly the same, but you don't have to worry about messing with these wires. Locate your brake wear sensor, which is located over here. And then you can carefully just trace it back and unclip it from the housings. Okay, you can see that it's gonna go up in here. So to get back there, just remove this 10mm, just a plastic nut. And then with that removed, and all that sand removed, you can just bend this back like this, and you're going to see that the other end of it is going to be in this little box. So just pull down these little tabs and rock that open. Wow, there's a lot of junk in there. We're gonna pull that out, knock some of this junk off, and then you can disconnect it. Okay, so just press this little button in, slide it off just like that. So now what we need to do is we need to remove the center section of the caliper. To do this, you need to have a 17mm. It's going to slip onto this nut. And then there's also a bolt that's a 13mm that needs to be removed in the back. What I have found, the nicer your 17, the worse it's gonna fit. If you get a little cheap Harbor Freight one, it typically slides right in. If you have a nice name brand one, typically the metal's too thick because it's a nice tool and it doesn't work and you might have to grind it down. So remember, in this situation, the cheaper tool wins. So remove this top bolt here. Looks just like this. Then do the same thing underneath. Then once you've done that, you can take your caliper and slide it off just like this. Then with a brake spreading tool, again, we have all the stuff listed for you down below. You want to very carefully compress your brake piston. So it should be nice and easy since we have it in installation mode. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed the rest of my brake wear sensor through the caliper, just like that. And then at this time, you can pull your pads out. So there's one back there, and then one right here. So as you saw, it just pulls straight back. And here's a little comparison of our old and our new. So as you can see, these were quite a bit worn. All right, so now what I'm going to do, just to make sure everything is nice and clean, I'm gonna hit especially these areas over here with a little bit more brake cleaner. Then once everything's dry, we're going to take our brake pad and we're going to install it in the reverse order that we just removed it. So basically we're gonna slide it in, and then this piece here is gonna go up top, and then the lower piece into the bottom section. Go in here like that. Just kind of wiggle it in and then press it against the rotor. Then for the rear one, we're going to take our brake wear sensor, and there's a little nub on it, as you can see. This is going to go up facing the pad. So you're gonna take this, just wiggle it in until it clicks. Then you can take this, feed it behind, and install it in those little channels just like you did on the front. Now you can take the other end, navigate it through the caliper, just like this. Then you can start to navigate this all back into place, and it should slide on your new brake pads with ease. If not, you need to compress it just a little bit more. So then what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put another little drop of blue Loctite, just some medium duty on here. We'll reinstall these bolts, and these are gonna get torqued down to 35 Newton meters. Okay, and we'll do the same on the bottom. Okay, so now what you can do is take your brake wear sensor, and you're just gonna pop these back into the little holders that we originally removed them from. So you can see it's gonna go kind of back this way. So it goes over here. Then you can take it, plug it back in, put it into its little home, and then we can reinstall our 10 mil. Now, when I removed the cover, there was a ton of dust and dirt that went everywhere, so I am gonna hit it one more time with some brake cleaner, make sure that there's no dust or dirt or anything in here that's going to interfere with the pads or the rotors, and then we're going to proceed with the driver front. All right, so then once you're done all of that, you can slide your wheel back on, reinstall your lug bolts, torque them all down to 105 foot-pound. All right, let's resume at the driver front. Now, one thing that I personally like to do when I'm changing my brakes, after I do any corner of the car, I jump in the car and I pump the brake pedal. And I do that because it helps prevent the brake fluid reservoir from overflowing. So now that I've done that, let's jack up the front and secure it with a jack stand. All right, for the front, first thing I'm gonna do is just give it a little clean. Then while that's drying, what we're going to do is we are going to remove the brake wear sensor. So if you start by the caliper, you're going to notice the wire is down here. So then what you can start to do is just trace it backwards and unclip it from all these holders. Now, technically, because the light never came on, you could actually reuse this, but while we're putting fresh pads, it's a good opportunity to just put a new one in. Just like we did before, press on this little tab here, and that'll release it. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to punch out this retaining pin and this one down here. So just take a small punch and just a small hammer. Very carefully knock these loose. And you can just grab them from behind. Just pull them straight out. They look like that. Then from here, there's a 14mm nut here, and then another one down here that needs to be removed. I'm just gonna leave that on part way for now, so I can loosen the bottom one. Now, before we fully remove this top nut, what I like to do is loosen the brake line so we have a little bit more room to play. So what you're gonna do is you're going to first disconnect the rubber grommet, we'll call it, that's held onto this metal clip over here. So just pull it straight off. Looks just like that. Then there's another holder over here. Just pull straight out. And now you can see you have a little bit more brake line and a little bit more leeway. So once you have it like that, you can remove this top nut the rest of the way. Now, your brake is going to be really tight. So what I would recommend doing is just grabbing the brake pad here and here and just pull towards you, and you should feel the brake pistons compressing a little bit, and then press against the other side. You might be able to hear a little bit of creaking there. And then this is going to get a little bit looser. Sometimes you still may need a rubber mallet to get it off if it's a little bit corroded. Okay, so I'm just gonna tap this lightly. All right, there we go. Whoops. Now, while the pads are still in, we're going to use our compression tool to compress the pistons. Just do it right in the center and just go slow till it gently stops. Okay. Then you can take the old pads and just slide them right out. Then if you like, you can spray a little brake cleaner in here to clean things up. What we're going to do now is we are going to feed in our new brake wear sensor. So just feed it up through this hole in here. And again, there's going to be a little piece of plastic that protrudes out. This is the actual sensor. This has to go on the pad side because this is what's going to detect if the pad is wearing down. So at this time, you can take this and just clip it in like that. Then you can take the pad and just slide it in and then just hold it with your hand. Then on the bottom pad, just take it and just slide it right on in. All right, so now that you have this prepped and ready to go, you can just swing it over, slide the pads over the rotor, line up your holes, and you can just wiggle it back on. And I'm just gonna loosely hand thread the top nut on just so nothing falls out, and same with the bottom. Then what you can do is snug them up the rest of the way. Make sure that when you're putting it on, you're doing it nice and even. Then we're gonna torque these two nuts down to 95 Newton meters. From there, you can push the grommets back into their places. Okay. Then you can take your new brake wear sensor and fasten that in all the appropriate holders. And then you can plug it in, make sure it clicks, and then put it back into the little holder. So now what I'm going to do, we are going to be reusing these pins. So I'm just gonna clean them up with a wire brush, and then I'll show you where they go. You're gonna put them in the back into the holes that we removed them from, and you need to make sure that it goes through the hole in the brake, just like that, and then continue to slide it through. Make sure that it lines up through the front brake as well. Sometimes you have to do a little maneuvering. Then what you can do with a soft hammer, tap it in until it's flush. Now it's very important that you get this completely flat on the back so that it protrudes out like that. The best way to do this is once you get it pretty much set, you're gonna use your punch again to push it the rest of the way. Then you can do the same thing on the bottom. Make sure it's good with the punch. All right, and then last thing I wanna do, just wanna hit it with a little bit more brake cleaner, make sure everything is nice and clean before we put the wheel on. Then from there, everything in the front is done. We just need to reinstall the wheel and torque all the lug bolts to 105 foot-pound. All right, so back in Pro Tool, we're gonna go down again to stability control, hit control, and then we're going to deactivate installation mode. And you'll hear your brake going back to its normal position. And then from there, the last thing you need to do, give that brake a few really nice pumps, start the car, again, give it a few really nice pumps, and that's gonna get your brake fluid back all in the system, make sure that everything is pre-compressed. Fun fact of useless knowledge, the very first time I did brakes, nobody told me that. And this is back when I was 18 or so. And I rolled down my parents' driveway and across the street, and I came within inches of hitting a curb. So don't be that guy. So as you just saw, changing out the brake pads in your F90 M5 is actually a very easy process. Out of all of the cars we do brakes on, this I would say is actually one of the easiest to do, and you need the least amount of tools. Now to make this a little bit easier, I would recommend something like Pro Tool. That's really the secret sauce on how you can do this at home. But I would say you can easily get this project done in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Very easily, especially once you start to get comfortable with how to do it. Once again, my name is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. If you liked today's video, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. And for all of the parts and tools we use in today's video, see the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.